pretty good conversation, because usually when the suggestion doesn't work, they just throw up the tape. But this is good, because like I would like to learn more in this process, right? So as you were going into hypnosis, what kind of thoughts go through your mind?
It was weird. A couple times, I had a couple of very random images that popped into my head. And one was from, like, as I was sinking into my chair. There's this really weird book, but in it, there's a staircase, like intertwining, but it goes on forever. But all of a sudden I felt like I was in that, and I was falling through the stairs. And then when you were saying like the colors, like all the colors, I felt like I came out of my mom's womb all of a sudden.
Wow.
It was really weird.
This is even better than the hypnosis.
This is weird. I don't know where it came from.
This is really tricky. So did you feel that you could go further into the image, or do you feel you have to follow the instructions more? Because it seems to me like you were hypnotized. Mm-hmm. You were just not following instructions.
No, it was weird because my mind kind of got a hold of it a couple times, but it was weird where it took it.
Right.
Like it kind of took it, in another direction.
Right.
But I think in that sense, though, it added so much to it. But then it took me away from your words, but then it brought me back to it. But then at the same time, whenever it did that, it wasn't like I don't remember the exact specifics of it, but you were still kind of focused on the same thing.
Right.
Versus
you feel like you have moved further from what I was saying on this end of the chair.
Yeah, like a couple times.
Okay.
It just when I just had like the couple visions, but then it was weird too because, and this kept going in and out, but your voice had like a slight echo, and then all of a sudden was further away.
Okay.
It's like it was further away. It happened a few times. That was kind of interesting.
What would you have liked me to have said, or instruct you to do, if we have to do this again?
I liked everything that you were saying towards the end.
Okay. Were you? So how do you feel at that moment? Do you remember? Okay, what do you remember from the last 10 minutes of the session?
What really stands out to me is the colors and all of the visualizing, as far as like when you're talking about the energy from the flowers and everything around. I was really, so I feel like I was visualizing the most, and my mind stayed in one place for the longest period of time.
Right.
So that's definitely what stood out to me, is those two parts. And all of a sudden, coming out of my mom's womb, it was kind of weird, but yeah, I'd say those two parts though.
What else? So I gave you an instruction of your eyes becoming too heavy to open.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that?
I remember that. I remember that they were.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember what else did we do?
The beach.
Okay, I'll give you more of what I'm trying to ask you. So, at some point, I asked you to open your eyes and in 30 seconds you could drift back into hypnosis. And then we talked for about 3 minutes, and that suggestion did not go through. Did you remember me saying that to you?
Yes.
What was going through your mind?
When you said the 30 seconds.
Right.
That, in 30 seconds my eyes would close again.
Right.
But then I remember they didn't. And that's when you put your hand up.
Right. So I haven't been keeping track of the clock, so I'm not sure if that was actually like 30 seconds.
I didn't.
It sort of worked almost like 99% of the time. You could be proud. Well, I'm not like encouraging this, but it was so rare that it didn't work. I was a little bit surprised.
Oh yeah.
So as we talk, like, were you thinking about the suggestions? Were you thinking about the 30 seconds?
No.
So as we talk, like, it was talking as if I haven't said that before you open your eyes.
Like, I was listening to everything that you said it, but then I would forget everything that you said before. Like, when you're like, open your eyes,
Okay.
I forgot everything that you said right before that.
Okay.
And so I wasn't thinking, and I remember at that moment though, my mind was so like, it was confused
Okay.
and didn't really know. Because I remember I took like a brief pause and I was just, I just remember being confused.
Okay. That's a normal reaction.
Yeah. I remember that.
All right. So how do you feel right now?
I feel really good, honestly. Like, I feel very relaxed, but at the same time, I'm just kind of rejuvenated in a way, I think is it.
All right.
Because that's one of the things too, is being able to it's like meditation kind of in a sense, but be able just to focus on those things.
Do you do a lot of meditations?
Yeah, and I should do more.
How
I feel.
How do you feel hypnosis? Is it the same or different from your experience in meditation?
It's the same as far as like the relaxation and the focus. It's different. In fact, like I feel like I didn't have any control over my mind.
In hypnosis?
Right.
Okay.
But I wasn't thinking about having control over my mind. Like I was
Right.
confused, and then having the visions that didn't have to do with anything randomly come in.
Right. Whereas in meditation, it's more you have more control.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You're still in your body, and I felt like I was kind of out of body.
Was there any emotions associated with those things that comes in front of your eyes, those random images?
They varied at different times, but it
Like,
was
I'm
all.
talking about like at that point, not emotions that you would add later on. Like at that
Like
point,
during the hypnosis.
what do you feel when those images come?
It was all like joy and happiness, and I mean, there was a couple times I felt like maybe I smirked or something and kind of smiled slightly.
You did, yes.
Yeah, I didn't know though, like I couldn't feel it, but I feel like in my head it was trying to tell my mouth to do it, but I didn't know if I was doing it or not.
All right.
That was kind of cool, actually.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was cool. But it was all it varied on levels, but it was all basically like just happiness and joy. Like, 'cause I remember the colors, like, at one point I think in my head I just stuck my hand out trying to really take in like I was like, what is going on kind of in my head? And I'm like, there's all these colors, and so I also had a vision of just sticking my hand out. I don't really have control over my limbs right now. This is kind of weird.
Do you have?
It's just really weak.
Right now.
Like I can't. Yeah.
Okay.
Is that normal?
Yeah.
It's weird.
How,
Like I feel like I can't.
Tell me more about this feeling.
I mean, it's coming back the more like I move, but you know, my brain's telling my hand to like come out, but at the same time, like the two aren't.
But you only slept like 1 hour last night.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah. No, it's nothing like I'm worried about, but it's just part of like the relaxation. Like, no, I was just saying my body was just completely relaxed. That's what I was. You're like getting scared.
I know.
Like you didn't sleep that much last night.
There's a lawsuit happening pretty soon.
No. It was just I was just completely relaxed, and I think that's what that's.
Talking to you is a trip, right? Like you're saying that, I was just visualizing the house burning down. It was the best feeling ever.
It's hilarious.
Okay, should I be concerned? But you're so happy talking about it. I'm like,
yeah, no, it's funny to me. Yeah, it's all good memories you learn. Yeah.
All right.
But,
so, was this what you were expecting to feel before this started?
it is and it isn't. Like, it's definitely more than what I expected. Like, I didn't really know either way. It's like you have the idea in your head of the sort of like monotone voice and just being like relaxed and everything, but I wasn't really expecting as much of the visuals and the connection with them and the random thoughts that came in and out throughout too.
Okay. Wow, this is very insightful. I guess this is the first time I ever documented that. Okay, this is my what I'm thinking, right? This is so interesting because you were hypnotized, but you were not following instructions. But like in traditional sense, if you read a book on hypnosis, like on it's called the Stanford scale, basically, Killstrom. Well, these scientists come together and say, how do we know when somebody's hypnotized? So they say, well, if they follow these instructions, then we can tell if she is hypnotized, right? So, in the scale it was like, okay, so if she couldn't open her eyes, she's like level 1 in hypnosis. If she couldn't do this, then she's level 2 into hypnosis. And like, if she couldn't remember her name, that's like level 4 into hypnosis, right? So that's the benchmark. That's what's set in the philosophy and the practice and the science of hypnosis.
Okay.
But then here's a documented case, like in high definition, that this person here was clearly hypnotized. Is that how you describe it too?
Yeah.
Like you can feel, you can see things that you don't see in your mind's eye. You can say it in a categorical clear that it's very different from meditation. And you feel all these positive emotions that you come out of it, and you can feel a lot of you feel happier, and there was definitely an effect before and after the hypnosis, and it did something. We don't know what it is yet, but it definitely did. So like hypnosis definitely occurred.
Yeah.
But it's on a traditional textbook they would say you're not hypnotized, but you were, right? So this is going to be very interesting to see how this pans out in a few weeks. Yeah. So you may be famous. This is.
We don't really know what's going on with your brain.
This is
weird.
The 1 hour that changed the course of psychology forever. On this note, thank you for joining us tonight.
And see.
Join us next week and cut. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
Very happy to have you here.
Thank you.